place where I get to spend time listening to old hip hop records that I should have heard years ago, and getting to experience them and really understanding, getting an idea of what it contributes to hip hop on a whole, and just really appreciating older artists. This is a place for young cats to do the same with me. And then on the flip side, this is a place for where older cats who have the context of these albums to really kind of step in and provide some context or some light on what they think about what do young folk take from these joints. I think it's a place for us to learn, really appreciate hip hop on a deeper level. Today's album is Kool Rap's 456. This is a really dark, moody, crime gangster album. If you can think of like early 1990s noir, hard-boiled gangster films, you will be very clear what you're about to face here. But I think there's enough of a nuance that G-Rap provides that makes this album go from this is great to excellent. Because on a lyrical level, he's impeccable. Flow-wise is unparalleled. The vivid imagery and descriptions, as I'll describe to you, are all there. The final piece that really encapsulates this album is really how he sheds the context on this album. So the two songs I'm really referring to are It's a Damn Shame and how he ends the album with Money on My Brain. It's a damn shame, the hook is, it's a damn shame, it's what I gotta do to make $1. Money on My Brain, there's a hook done by either MF Grimm or B1, I forget, really just talking about like, if I gotta flip this brick to make money, that's what I gotta do. And that kind of, I'm doing this in this kind of larger societal context because I got to make some type of life for myself, that it doesn't matter the body counts that's on this album. It doesn't matter any of that. The code of the streets is what the code of the streets is going to be. And the only reason why there is a code of the streets is because there's this larger looming societal ill. Now, the song that I think that like really divides the album in half is Blowing Up in the World. On Blowing Up in the World, it's 3 verses. First verse, talking about his life as a kid, talking about how he didn't have barely had any clothes to deal with the winter, he nearly froze. Talks about how, on the second verse, how he pretty much got into drug dealing and women are now pulling on his lid, and compared back to the first verse where he talks about like, my cheeks did not have any lipsticks on I didn't have any lipstick on my cheeks. Third verse talks about how that rap is this kind of final entrepreneurial thing. And that to me is kind of the broader like hip hop story. It's that you have this tough life as a kid, you have drug dealing as one immediate way out, and then the final way out that removes the shame of like this crime noir story or the people who are going to die as a result is hip hop, because you become removed away from it. I mean, you get to tell these stories about it. And then you get to have these liberties and descriptions and imagery. Like, that is the kind of like overarching thing about G-Rap's life, really, that he's able to sum up in Blowing Up in the World. And to me, it's a damn shame. That second verse is crazy, and it's really where I started to understand that kind of like crime noir imagery. He talks about the femme fatale that he pretty much sets up, and how like she's got a jammy in her single sand and panty. Like, I can't, anytime I do a quotable from him or B1 or MF Grimm, it's not going to do it justice enough, given the way that pretty much they say it. The flow is really unparalleled here, and it birthed greatness going down the line in terms of like people like Big Pun and whatever. Like, the things that get done here on a mechanical level are significant. Like, this is done in 1995, year like peak Wu-Tang era of lyricism, peak of and this is the peak Nas, like all the greats that are combining. And then this is G-Rap's first solo album off the 3 that he did with DJ Pole and what, like, this is a meaningful contribution during what is like one of the greatest runs of like hip-hop experience life overall. And so yeah, anytime I do a quotable, go check out the song and just really figure that out. So it's a damn shame, talking about the femme fatale, talks about, I mean, he kind of reinserts him back himself in the story about the femme fatale. Like, yeah, I went to sleep with her or whatever. But the thing is that he kind of, if he either ends that verse or is near the end of the verse, he talks about, like, he leaves the house and he goes and smokes a cigarette. Like, there's a, to me, that little detail really feels like I could start seeing the hard noir scene, G-Rap in a full gangster outfit, black and white film, and just him smoke. Like, there's something going on here in terms of what he's taken in from whatever movies he was watching, whatever, and his real life experiences, and really combining these things together. After It's a Damn Shame, there's Take Him to War and Execution Style, where the body count of this album is really high, and that's like, you're gonna hear people die, but the ways that in which that they capture how people die and the violence on this album, it's, I don't have words to really describe how creative of ways that they can describe that. I mean, on Take 'Em to War, there's a line that B1 talks about marching the person onto Zion. You have there's a rap by MF Grimm where he talks about, like, in the underworld shooting galleries, lose calories because my salary is based on fatalities. And then G-Rap ends his, like, super violent verses like, I'm gonna leave the fingerprints so people can find me. There is just something about the way that they describe the violence in terms of a cinematic perspective that it's impeccable. I mean, G-Rap takes it to the next level on this, back on his just solo joint on right afterwards, Executioner Style. Like, what is the line? I make Bloody Marys through people's capillaries. And lines like that are laced throughout the album. I mean, even Nas, when he comes up on Fast Life, ends a song with, like, what? Gunsmoke rings, graveyard filled with kings. Like, I don't, again, the content is not unusual. There's nothing super, like, unusual about the content, but it's like the nuance is there and the mechanical skill is there. The thematic setup of the album is there. I mean, as I mentioned, Blowing Up in the World being the kind of separated album, like, middle track that really separates the album between that and Fast Life. You have this dark, moody setup atmosphere before with all these pianos and really, like, somber tone. You have these kind of lighter tracks, and then you get back to business as usual with Ghetto Knows, the remix of It's a Damn Shame, which I really don't like that much. And then you end on this kind of funky version of Money on My Brain. I think I'm missing one of the two tracks, but, like, the thematic setup of the album is clear. And I mean, let me just give you guys some more quotables from this. Like, his work with B1 and MF Grimm is fantastic. I mean, there's this line where, like, everybody comes to play on that final track. B1 says, like, I will hold up the earth for what it's worth. And then MF Grimm comes and is like, I'm gonna cry, but it's like, I'm drying my eyes $100 bill. Like, and then for me, this is why I say it's like this nuance of this album and the nuance of what G-Rap's decisions are in this album is that money and murder, like, I think, what was the line now? Money and murder hand in hand. That's the first piece, which is like, what is happening here? This crime experience is really intrinsically tied to, like, the capitalistic need of the people. And then finally, like, this is it. And it'll link back to one of the songs that I'm skipping, but I'm sure cats are like, how you not talking about For the Brothers? I'm getting there. He talks on this line where he says, like, yeah, I'm doing all of this, but no kids are being kidnapped. And it's like, wait. You, in that same song, you talk about how maybe people are going to get murdered or whatever, but the phrase of, like, the kids are going to be, like, left out of this grown adult business. And that goes right back to tying either into, depending on how you want to view, Blowing Up in the World, where he had to make his decision after he graduated about what's going to have to happen. And then back to For the Brothers, where there's this really talk about how the 17-year-old got killed by a younger crime. Like, the perspective on this album is really clear, and lyrically it's unfair. Like, the song Fast Life with Nas, the way that they trade verses off each other, the imagery that they trade back and forth, and then there's this moment where G-Rap has this constant flow and then is able to speed it up, slow it back down to the typical, and it reminds me. I'll put it this way: it's not as timeless. Like, it reminds me of what Q-Tip said is like, I'm like Andretti with the speed or infectious with the slow-mo. This is the extreme of that, where G-Rap slow-mo is already pretty fast, and that when he speeds up, he's like Usain Bolt and then going back to like normal human capacity afterwards. And you can see how this birthed so many other like rap styles and perspectives. This album was great, man. Like, it was a blast listening to it. I'm mad that I didn't get it when I first really like bought it in 2013, but hey, that's what you do. You spend more time with the music later on. You get to spend time with it and really not just give it just like hot take perspective. Like, I listened to it in 2013, what is 2017, I'm back and I'm like really gelling with this. Great album. Must listen as far as I'm concerned. Like, you talk about greatest albums of all time, this has to be in the conversation. Anyways, man, tell us what you think. If you get to listen to this album, what are your thoughts? Throw it in the comments below. If you're an OG, what did I miss out? Throw it in the comments below. Anyways, that's today's Due Diligence. Peace, love, unity.